Okay, I think the Zoom is recording. Just in case she emails me. Okay, perfect. Okay, so first question, have you checked the news today? And if so, what did you read?
I have not
Okay.
checked the news today.
How much do you trust the news content you get on social media?
It depends what platform, but overall, 70%.
Like 70% trustworthy?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
hmm
Okay. So now we're gonna um screen record and have you do this little survey.
Okay.
Um, okay. Okay.
Okay. If this headline appeared in your newsfeed, how likely would it be to read? Oh, on the left.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, my bad.
No, you're good.
Valentine's Day tragedy. Massachusetts woman dies after falling through ice. Husband missing. Through ice. I would not read this story. It seems kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like this happens a lot. Or like if it doesn't happen a lot, it doesn't really pertain to me at all. To the best of your knowledge, how accurate is the claim in this headline? I'd say it's pretty accurate, somewhat in between somewhat or very. Probably very accurate. I could see that happening. How much do you trust this headline? I trust it. I wouldn't have not trusted it. Which description best matches how you believe this headline was produced? Um, this headline was written entirely by a human journalist. Headline was written by a human journalist. I feel like it could have been edited by AI, but I feel like this is pretty human. And then please indicate how much you agree with the following statements about this headline. Headline feels emotional. Since it says Valentine's Day, they depicted Valentine's. I'd say they're trying to make it more emotional, but for me, I don't really feel any emotions towards it. This headline makes me feel sympathy. But not really, sadly. I mean, I don't know if that's bad. This headline seems factual. Yeah, I'd agree with that. This headline seems objective. Um, I'll go with neither. Okay. Next question. Valentine's Day tragedy, woman chooses after falling through ice. Husband missing. Headline is written by AI. Okay. Which authorship label was shown beneath this headline? Headline is written by AI. After seeing the authorship label, how likely would you be to read the full story? Excuse me, even more unlikely that I'm going to read it now. Um, After seeing the authorship label, to the best of knowledge, how accurate is the claim? I feel like I'm biased towards AI, and I'd say that it's somewhat accurate just because I don't know if it just made it up or is like delusional. After seeing the authorship label, how much do you trust this headline? My trust, I don't really trust it at all. Even though it could happen, just because it's written by AI, it might be delusional. Which description best matches how you believe this headline was produced? Since it was headline is written by I think it was entirely written by AI. I think the human just made up like maybe the idea, but I think that AI wrote the whole thing. Northeast snowstorm brings blizzard warnings closes schools, disrupts travel, more snow possible later this week. Okay, this is northeast storm. This is pretty likely to happen. Um, if I would read the story, I feel like it depends if it was close to me. If it was close to me, I would probably read it. If it wasn't close to me, I would not read it. So if it was in Virginia or the same state. To the best of your knowledge, how accurate is the claim? Pretty accurate. Maybe even very accurate. How much do you trust this headline? Brings blizzards, warnings, close. I feel like it's kind of a normal heading. So I'd trust somewhat, but I would look into it and see if they're making it a bigger deal than it is with some other snowstorms. How do you believe this headline was produced? Since it doesn't say anything about AI, I would probably just assume that it was written by a human journalist. And then, but the commas and everything make me second guess. But if I was just looking at this without taking a survey, I would definitely just think it was just a human writing it. And get how much with the following statements about this headline feels emotional. I don't think it feels emotional at all. This headline makes me feel sympathy. I mean, no, not really. But maybe for people who really need to go to work or like things like that. This headline seems factual. Yeah, I agree with that. This headline seems objective. Mm, I'm gonna say neither again. Okay. Headline is written by Jordan Lee with AI assistance. So I'll write that down. After seeing the authorship label, how likely would you read the story? I feel like I would still, it wouldn't sway me in either way. I would read it if it was close to me, and if it wasn't close to me, I wouldn't read it. After seeing the authorship label, to the best of your knowledge, how accurate is this claim in the headline? Still somewhat very accurate. I don't think it swayed me. After seeing the authorship label, how much do you trust this headline? I don't think AI had that much to do with it, so I would still trust it, but maybe a little less. Which description best matches how you believe this headline was produced? The headline was written by a human journalist, which were copy edited by AI, or was written by AI, then edited by a human journalist. No, I think it was written by Jordan Lee and then AI helped, hopefully, with just the editing. Okay, then WMO report finds atmospheric CO2 levels reach record high with sharpest annual increase since 1957. Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate. I don't know who WMO is personally, but I would probably read it just because I am interested in CO2 levels in my career, but yeah. And then how accurate is this claim in this headline? Probably pretty accurate, but I would make sure who I know who WMO is first before I read the entire article. How much do you trust this headline? I trust it pretty much, but it could be more of a political outlook or something, trying to make a different argument other than just the CO2 levels. So I'd trust it somewhat. And then how you believe this headline was produced, I would probably just think a human wrote it. I wouldn't look past. This headline feels emotional. No, I don't think it feels emotional. This headline makes me feel sympathy. There's not really. I feel like the humans did this to themselves. This headline seems factual. Yeah, I agree with that. This headline seems objective. Mm, yeah, I'd say somewhat agree. Mm, I don't know. I'll go neither again. Okay, then this one is headline is written by AI. After seeing the authorship label, how likely would you read the whole story? I would not. I feel like there's so many out of the articles that are not written by AI, I would probably not read it anymore. After seeing the authorship label, to the best of your knowledge, how accurate is this claim in the headline? Mm, just because I know CO2 levels are rising, I would still say it's pretty accurate, but I don't know about their full claim about since 1957 anymore. I would have to look that up myself. After seeing the authorship label, how much do you trust this headline? I kind of trust it, so I'll say neither trust or do not trust because no, I'll say neither because I don't really know if I trust it or not just by the headline. Which description best matches how you believe this headline was produced? I'd say it was completely written by AI. Second worker dies after gas leak at Woodland Pulp Mill in Maine. Family mourns loss. All right, so this one, a gas leak at a pulp mill. I would probably say I might read it. I might read part of it, but maybe not the whole thing. Definitely the abstract or the first couple paragraphs. How accurate is this claim? Probably pretty accurate. Very accurate, actually. It seems like a pretty reasonable thing to happen. How much do you trust this headline? Yeah, I'd trust it completely. I wouldn't look too much into it. Description, which description best matches how you believe this headline was produced? Again, I'd probably just think a human wrote it. Um, yeah, the comma is kind of odd after Maine, I think, but maybe that's just me. This headline feels emotional. I feel like it's pretty emotional. They're talking about person dying and their whole family mourning, so that's pretty intriguing. This headline makes me feel sympathy. Definitely makes me feel sympathy. This headline seems factual. I think it seems pretty factual. This headline seems objective. I don't think it seems objective. Okay. Headline is written by Jordan Lee and AI, with AI assistance. So I'll write that down. After seeing the authorship label, how likely would you be to read the full story? Um, Probably pretty unlikely because I wasn't that intrigued to begin with. And then since there's AI assistance, I don't think I would care as much anymore because it's very, like, it's about a family, and I feel like AI doesn't really help with that emotional part. Um, After seeing this authorship label to the best of your knowledge, how accurate is the claim in the headline? This is difficult because I feel like it's not very accurate because AI could have just made that up or tried to become more human or something, creating an emotional tie. How much do you trust this headline? Um, I don't really trust it anymore. Which description best matches how you believe this headline was produced? I would say this one, since it is more about family and more emotional, I'd say hopefully the human wrote it with AI assistance, but just because it says written by Jordan Lee, but I don't know how much assistance AI would have had. All right, now new headline, Western New York community supports family after boating tragedy. Oh my goodness. I would probably say if the headline was appeared in your news feed, how likely would you feel it was Western New York community supports family after boating tragedy? Um, I'd probably not read it personally, just because it doesn't seem very extreme, and I'm more into like world news and such like that, or like climate news. But how accurate is this claim in the headline? I mean, probably pretty accurate, but it doesn't seem like a very drastic story. How much do you trust this headline? Yeah, I trust it completely. I just look past it kind of. Which description best matches how you believe this headline was produced? I'd probably say a human journalist, but sometimes they just need to produce a lot more feed. So that might have been one of the smaller stories. This headline feels emotional. Okay, I'd say strongly agree. I feel like that's the main take to this one. Makes me feel sympathy. For me, not really. Because there's a lot worse headlines in the news right now, so I'd probably just look past it. This headline seems factual. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I don't see anything wrong with it. This headline seems objective. Yeah, I'd say a little bit. Which authorship label was shown beneath this headline? This headline was written by Jordan Lee. Just Jordan Lee. So I would still not really read it. It doesn't really. I'd usually assume things were written by humans, so just seeing the author doesn't really prompt me to read it more. After seeing the authorship label, how accurate is this claim? I'd say it's very accurate because she's probably a very, or they're probably a very big journalist or something, and they probably saw it firsthand or something. After seeing the authorship label, how much do you trust this headline? I'd trust the headline completely with an author like that. Which description best matches how you believe this headline was produced? I would assume there was no AI with it. If anything, maybe it was copyrighted by AI, but I'd assume if Jordan Lee was part of a bigger company that they're not using AI at all. Severe weather, tornado risks as storms slam East Coast. Updates.
This should be the last one.
Okay, okay. This one, tornado risk slam East Coast. I'd probably read it to see what's going on, and sometimes there's very emotional stories in it. Um, to the best of your knowledge, how accurate is the claim? Probably very accurate because it's kind of hard to not say that there's a tornado risk without having some backup information. How much do you trust this headline? I'd trust it completely. Which description best matches how you believe this headline was produced? Um, I'd probably say it was written by a human because there's nothing else about it. It's very simple. But it's not like capitalized or anything like other titles are, but I'd still say it was a human. It just depends on the journal, I think. This headline feels emotional. Usually they have emotional things in it, but this headline doesn't seem very emotional. So I'd say somewhat agree. Makes me feel sympathy for the people involved. I'd agree just because it makes me think about what's inside of the journal, and usually those are very grasping stories. This headline seems factual. Yeah, I'd agree with that. And this headline seems objective. I would not think so. All right, let's see. So this one is written by Jordan Lee. All right. So I'd probably read it just the same amount. It doesn't really grasp me more just because I think I would assume that it was written by a human anyways. Um, and then to the best of my knowledge, how accurate is the claim in this headline? Again, I think it's very accurate just because other news um, journals are probably also covering this tornado risk. Um, After seeing the authorship label, how much do you trust the headline? Oh, I'd trust it completely just because now I know that Jordan Lee wrote it. And I could look her up or them up and make sure that I know who it is before I read the whole thing. Which description best matches how you believe this headline was produced? I'd think that it was completely written by a human, and I'd be more certain about it with the headline description. Oh, okay, this is my name.
Then if you want to start making breakfast, I can just like read the verbal questions and like you don't have to write anything down. I just have to take notes.
Okay, that sounds good.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I just have a couple more questions. What most influenced your willingness to read the articles? Like any articles that you thought that you wanted to read, what most influenced your want to read them?
I think the CO2 one was pretty interesting because I work in a lab, in a chemistry lab, so we do hear a lot about CO2 and environmental things. And I'm very into the climate. Whereas small little news articles that characterize one little story that happened, like the boat incident, are very broad headlines. Like I have no clue what happened on that boat. I would probably skip something like that. I'm not very interested.
Okay. Um, was there like a particular word, phrase, or cue that like you saw when you were reading them that changed your judgment at all? Not including the like the authorship, just like with the headlines.
I don't know. I don't really remember specifically, but I think if they said like updates or, recent or changes, like something that's currently happening this day or this week, I think prompts me to read it more because it's recent.
Okay. Is there anything that you want to add to your survey answers, or did it like fully capture what you were thinking?
I think it fully captured it. I don't hate AI, but and I use it myself, but I think news is a different aspect. So I think I view it more harshly.
Okay. What's your general perception of AI systems?
I am torn. I'm kind of in the middle because of the energy factor, because it's not good for our environment. So that definitely pulls me in the negative direction. But I do think that there are some good aspects, like certain editing and help overall. But I think because it has tendencies of being delusional, I think I am pretty negative towards AI, even if I use it myself. It's kind of like a do what I say, not what I do kind of thing.
How did the identity of the author influence your trust in the headline compared to your initial choice? Like if it said AI human or AI assisted.
I definitely trusted the AI less, especially with emotional factors because they can't have emotions. A machine learning. So yeah, I definitely trusted it less. And I was kind of turned off that I didn't want to read it anymore. Yeah. But if it was assisted, I don't think I had that much. I don't think it was that big of a difference.
How did the disclosure change or confirm your accuracy rating of the original headline?
Yeah, so I thought it was also less accurate, especially with the emotional factors or the emotional stories, because again, I don't think it could really retain as much as a true human.
And then when you see a byline that said reported by Jordan Lee with AI assistance, how do you picture the headline being developed?
I picture it that Jordan Lee is in her office and she is finalizing her headline, and then she asks AI, almost like a coworker, to make sure that this headline is grammarly efficient. Like, if that makes any sense, the grammar is all okay, punctuation, all of that. Um, looks good, and maybe even asks if it's intriguing enough and uses its output and but doesn't copy and paste.
When you see a story written by humans using AI, do you feel like the AI is a tool, but the AI is, or do you feel like the AI is a tool the human is using, a partner, or like a stranger taking over the job?
Yeah, I think it's more of a um tool. However, like I said earlier, I think it's almost like a coworker. Um, so I don't know about a partner, but definitely like someone that can help you through
Mhm.
something almost.
Okay. What parts of the news writing process do you think AI is well suited for?
I think for the news, um, only editing and brainstorming, but nothing like copy and paste, if that makes any sense. Like not even like an idea that helps you. I think the brainstorming should just help
Mhm.
you at the beginning.
Why do you think brainstorming?
I think brainstorming because a lot of writers get in like a rut and they can't think of certain things that are happening. And it takes a lot and a lot of time to go through different review articles and figure out news that is currently happening. And sometimes you want to combine everything into like more of a review news article. And I feel like that is fine to create different things, different ideas that you wouldn't think of on the spot.
Okay. Are there parts of the news writing process where you feel AI should not be involved?
Yeah, I feel like it shouldn't be involved in really anything else other than those two factors. Um, I don't think it should help you um like edit the entire journal. There should be teams and humans for that. Um, because people have those skills and humans communicating to other humans is better than robot communicating to us.
Are there situations where you would trust AI more than a human journalist, or vice versa, human over AI?
Um, I think like 99% of the time I would trust a human over AI for everything.
If an AI generates a perfect headline in 2 seconds and a human struggles for 2 hours to write the same one, which one do you value more?
I value the human one a lot more. Um, because it went through so many different drafts and everything and had those human thoughts of this is better and this is worse.
Do you think effort matters for how you evaluate news content?
Like their effort in making the news article.
Yeah, just like effort in general, like how much effort someone puts into it.
Yeah, I definitely think effort matters. Um, I think effort is a very human thing that we can put through compared to just an algorithm of how words fit together.
Okay. Now, where do you personally draw the line between what should be done by humans versus AI in journalism?
Um, I draw the line at editing. I think it's gonna become so popular and already has that you can't really stop people from not using it at all, but editing they could still do without it becoming um, like a super negative factor in journalism.
And in general use too, where do you draw the line between humans and AI?
In general,
Yeah. Like, do you think,
normal life.
yeah, just like in normal life, like using ChatGPT for something, like what is too far?
I look down upon people who use it everyday life in any aspect. I think if you're using it for work or to help people communicate better, even like languages and simple things like that, that could be helpful. But if you're asking it a question that you could ask another human being, it's I frown upon people that use it so much.
How do you feel about disclosing AI involvement in news content?
I think it's a great thing to disclose how AI was used, especially with AI becoming more relevant and everything. Um, because any truthful factor is going to be better than leaving the audience kind of at a blank.
How much detail would you expect when seeing like an AI involved story or something? How much would you want to see?
Would want to see it as much as possible, like figure out exactly how it was used in, I don't even know, like an acknowledgement section or a method section or something. And then a little description at the top, just like these news articles were. Um, just to be blatantly honest with the audience that they're showing.
And then how could the AI disclosure approach be improved?
I think again, like it could have a longer description somewhere else further down where not everybody can see it because you not everybody cares about it. But for people who do care, I think there could be an acknowledgement, so like AI portion, just like some professors have on the end of their um assignments that if you use AI, just describe exactly how you used it.
Okay. And is there anything else that you would like to say for the record?
No, I think that's
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.